Eric, EJay, hey, great to see you on this fine Monday morning, I guess, which hasn't
Monday
been
morning.
fine,
Yeah.
which hasn't been
Well,
fine, but
it's better than I don't know Sunday night where
this
maybe
is true. Like the
Monday
doom.
hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monday hasn't started yet, but you have this sense of doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. 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 So all good.
Uh,
All good.
all right, so let's talk, brother.
Yeah. How'd you do? How'd you do in the easy week?
Why did you have to bring that up?
Well,
So
because it was an easy week. I
it was a
mean,
totally easy week.
it was
Everyone
a
knew it
piece
was
of
going
cake.
to be an easy week.
We got, as a
Um,
Hive, we got 8 out of 10 right. We killed it.
wow.
We knocked it out of the park. Points
Yeah.
were flying left and right. We
Right.
had
I
four
see
people.
that.
Four people was tied at the top with 70 points. This is an
Yeah.
easy week. How'd you
Easy
do?
week. I
How'd
got
you do?
25 points.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about that. We really don't. We don't need to. That that
That's
that you
awesome.
know, I am if there's one thing I am though is I am very consistent.
Yeah,
I
you
am
are.
consistent.
You are.
I had
You
25
are.
points last week. I think
You,
again, I go to the golf score. That's what I'm trying to play. I'm
all right.
trying to,
Simple coach.
scratch
25
goal.
points.
Yeah,
Last
scratch.
last place was 20.
Yeah.
You're scratch.
Thanks.
You're going scratch
Thanks.
golfer, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
for uh, thanks for reminding everyone as well that the lowest score was 20 points, so 5 from the bottom. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I'm just here for I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve the people.
Yes.
I'm here to serve their needs. They want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah. You're a
Uh,
man of service.
I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
That's what I live for here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my duty. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um any shockers
Yeah.
this week for you?
On scores or games?
Score games
On
or
games.
scores, yeah.
Well, score. Performance, like as a Hive, the performance wise, I said we did really well.
Yeah.
We got 8 out of 10, and yeah, I mean there were a lot of games that we should have gotten. We should have gotten them all right. Although I did say there's going to be one or two that we're going to miss.
Yeah.
A lot of points were won this week. Like I said, there's four people that finished at the top with 70 points, couple 65s, a couple 60s. So it was a good week to grab some points. Looking at
What,
the games themselves, what did we
what
miss
games
on?
did the
Yeah, what did
highs
we miss
what
on?
yeah, what
We
games
missed
did
on
the high
ties.
Yeah.
We missed on Chicago Rochester,
Yeah.
which was a draw, and
Yeah.
we had 49% at Chicago, and then
Zero
Augsburg,
and Augsburg, yeah, big tie
Gustavus Adolphus, right?
at
85%
zeros.
for Gustavus
Gustavus,
Adolphus.
yeah, at
Yeah, and
zeros too.
yeah, at zeros, only 13% draw,
Yeah,
and we missed on that one.
I thought it was a good game too. I will say that. Like both teams, like I said, they play. I just thought it was a good
So I
chess
had a
match.
conversation this weekend with somebody, and they said, right now, gun to your head, which two teams are in the final?
In the final, I'm gonna say because I have to, Mary Washington, and I would say, well, it's a toss up. So they're kind of in a league of their own. So I would default. That's easy. The next team I would probably go with Colorado or Kenyon.
Okay.
Like, but it never pans out that way, right?
Right. No,
Like,
of course.
it
But
never pans out
well,
that
and
way.
that's kind of what I said too. I'm like, well, there's a handful of teams. It depends on the matchups. And they're like, no, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter about matchups and bracket. Just what
yeah,
two teams? What two teams at the end?
well,
At the end of the
yeah,
day, who's there?
yeah. I
Yeah,
would. Those are the. You know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that. Mary Washington and Tufts.
that's what I said.
Mary Washington and Tufts is playing like
Damn it,
out of their mind.
that's what I said. So, and you're saying that, so clearly not going to happen
Yeah, totally not.
because
Totally not.
because we
We
don't know what
don't
we're doing.
pick. Yeah, we don't know what we're
Right.
doing.
We don't know what we're
Ta-
doing.
Tufts just beat relegation bound Trinity like 6-0 or
Mm,
7-0, something like
right.
that. this weekend, which I
relegation.
did not watch because I thought it would be painful, and sure enough, it was painful
Yeah.
to see. Um, but yeah, there's a handful of schools that you could totally see making runs once the tournament begins. Like Eau
Right. Oh
Claire, I
yeah, of
could totally
course.
see Eau Claire like somehow getting it,
Even
like right.
even Gustavus Adolphus.
Gustavus,
And
totally.
that's how it came up because somebody said, "What's the deal with Saint Olaf?" And I said,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
they struggled in the beginning. They're doing okay. I
yeah,
don't know."
yeah.
And that's
They're
how the whole conversation started.
yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Well, that's
All right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All
now
right.
let us
So
talk about the games for this week, which
yeah,
an
what do you think?
easy week. What's the antithesis to an easy week? Because it's not a hard, difficult week. It is a painfully atrocious, hard week, which means I might clear 15 points. I might get,
You think you're
I
getting
might get
15 points
20.
this week?
15 points this week.
Think you're going for 15, 20 points this week? That's
Total,
where you're
yeah.
looking at.
I'm
All right.
totally there. I'm
All
totally
right.
there.
All right. I think I think this is I
And the
think it's a
first
tough week.
one is totally flummoxed me. I'm like, go ahead.
All right. So Friday, one game on Friday. Rhodes, Memphis, out of Memphis, headed to Atlanta to play Oglethorpe.
Yeah.
So Rhodes is 7-2, and they're 2-0 in conference. Oglethorpe have only one loss. They're 5-1-4. It's going to be a huge crowd because it's break the record night, which apparently is an annual thing.
Hmm.
And it's also club night, whatever that is. So the place is going to be popping. Big night. Lots of nights there. Break the record night and club
I,
night.
I will say I'm going to give a nod to Hope here. I prefer poster night. There's nothing I
Yeah,
can
poster night.
really ask for here from the Oglethorpe staff.
Oh,
Like,
Oglethorpe, break the
yeah,
record
yeah,
night.
yeah.
Send me your
Break the
attendance
record.
sheet.
Send me your record. um,
Well, that's
you know
at
what?
first I was wondering. I was like, is this like the disco's
Yeah,
dead night at the when they do
yeah,
it at Cleveland, right? When they burn the
yeah,
field down, basically.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I think it has to do with attendance figures. So
Um,
it's a good
so
matchup. It's a good conference
this is a
matchup.
good. Actually, I Rhodes has always intrigued me. Um, I think they're. I've always I watched them a little bit more last year. I don't think they had the best of years last year, but they always strike me as a team that is looking to be better and bigger than it is. I will say Oglethorpe impressed me last year.
Hmm.
I thought they played really, really well. Although I don't think they look as good this year. So I don't. I think Rhodes aspires to be Oglethorpe, right, from a soccer
Yeah,
perspective,
yeah,
and I think Oglethorpe aspires to bigger, better.
yes,
So that's all I'll say there.
yeah.
I do think Oglethorpe should take this game.
They
That would be
should. What did
should.
they have a game? Did they have a game midweek because they're missing? They got a red card last game. Big red card in the midfield. And
Let's see.
that's a heavy loss if they're sitting.
They have probably um, one of the best mascot logo things, the Stormy Petrels
Yeah, I know. I saw
of
that.
Oglethorpe. I'm a big fan. They play. No, they do not.
No, so they're going to be missing somebody
Yeah,
big for them. So
they
kind
do
of
play
evens it out a little bit.
Hendricks. Yeah, they do
So
play
this is like I
Hendricks.
said,
Like,
this is a good matchup. I like the way you framed it, where Rhodes aspires to be Oglethorpe. Um,
yeah,
I think they have the potential to get one here, but I think
yeah,
this is a good game. And the fact that we don't know a lot about both these teams and
yeah,
traditionally, don't follow
yeah,
that neck of the woods all that much, makes this game even harder to pick.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. You have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to. This is definitely. Um, this
This
is
is going to be everybody's going to pick a 2-1 Oglethorpe. I'll
two
tell you right
one.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to be like
The
80%,
default.
80%
That's the
Oglethorpe, like
although
5%
wait,
Rhodes, 15%, whatever Tide.
which would be crazy. I will say as an admonition to those people who picked 2-1, Oglethorpe just beat Swanee 4-1. Like they can put goal. They can score. Like center they beat 4-2,
Everybody
three
can score. I
nothing
mean, 2-1's
Maryville.
the safe pick because
Yeah.
that's the common score line.
And they
So
beat Emory, which was a surprise. But anyhow.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good Friday matchup.
Good start. Good
All
start
right.
there, Eric. Good
Saturday.
start.
Saturday. This one I no clue what's going to happen. Chicago again, bring them back into
Yeah.
the pool again at NYU.
Wait, no. You missed one.
Oh, did I give them to you in different
Yeah.
order? All right.
Yeah. All
Well,
right,
we're
goes
talking
Chicago
Chicago NYU.
NYU. Here we are.
Chicago NYU.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago NYU. So Chicago lost 4 in a row, and then they earned a point this weekend when they tied Rochester 0-0.
Yeah.
Not really a statement there.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, we got a
Of
point.
confidence. Yeah, no.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
NYU only has one loss,
Yeah.
and they just drew with Case.
Case. Yeah.
So this is a big UAA game for both teams, and
Yeah.
Chicago's got to fly out to New York for this one.
Yeah. Oof. And they're actually not playing in New York. They're playing, I think,
Well,
they play, NYU plays this year at NJIT in
yeah, are
Newark,
they playing? Yeah, I think they
across,
are.
across the
Yeah,
river.
yeah, you're
Um,
right.
I will say, I think Chicago's definitely, they have to be disappointed with how things have turned out this season.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot be
Mm-hmm.
liking it. Um, and I have to, and this is where it gets tricky against NYU. I think this is probably the most even, most open UAA in the past few years
Oh yeah,
because, right, because there's no clear dominant. I think
yeah.
it's like
Case is
Brandeis
Case,
is one up. Has one is 1-0, and I forget who else. Maybe it's
I think
Emory's 1-0.
no, well, Emory's like they're what are they 3 and they're only like three and
Yeah.
6 and 3 or something like that.
So
Um, it's yeah,
I think
there's no convincing
no.
team
And
here.
I think that's what makes this one hard. My question
Yeah,
is, do they come out and go for it to get the win? Because the winner here is in a really in a much like catapults themselves in a much better
yeah. It's a
in a
big game. It's a
way.
big
It's a
UAA
big
game,
game,
and
or they
NYU.
don't or they like don't make any mistakes, right? Like which
Yeah,
which would be
NYU. Um, I would think NYU should be the favorite here,
hmm
but because it's Chicago, everybody might jump on the Chicago bandwagon still,
yeah.
even though they haven't won in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
It's still Chicago, and they've only been losing 1-0. It's not like they're
No,
getting blown
it's
out.
not. It's not. It's something. But it's not that. It's not like they
Right,
are bad, right? Like
right.
it's just that they have, they're just struggling.
Yeah,
They're just they can't get the goals for
tough one,
whatever reason. So
tough one.
yeah, man, that's a brutal call.
All right, next
Um,
game.
next game.
Is this the one you're thinking of, Denison?
Oh yeah,
Denison Kenyon. So Denison's 6-1-3. They want to put their stamp on the season, right?
yeah,
That's what they're looking to do. Kenyon's 7-0-3. You just mentioned Kenyon as possible, final
yeah,
team.
yeah.
Denison beat Kenyon last year 3-1 in the conference
3-1.
championship. They can beat him again. They're good enough to beat him again.
Yeah. And Denison beat Kenyon in the first year of Brandon Bianco's head coaching
Yeah,
at Denison. They beat Kenyon in the final as well, 1-0 in a master class. I thought of a game.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Denison's won the
yeah,
conference what 2 of the last 3 years
yeah. Hey, the
or something like that. 2 of the last 4 or whatever. But yeah,
Denison does have Kenyon's number.
they
I will
do.
say I am not sure this Kenyon team is different, and I'm not sure that famous last words. So
Right. Yeah,
Denison
exactly.
wins.
Denison. Denison 2-0.
I don't think this Kenyan team's going to be influenced, succumbed to that.
Okay.
Um, and I will say, if again, my rankings are completely different. If Denison does beat Kenyon, this justifies them getting in the top 25
Yeah, okay. I would
because
think so. I mean,
yeah,
they should be right on the cusp there right now as it
yes,
is.
they're on the radar, but they're
If they're
not.
not, yeah.
Yeah. So
So that
I thought
I mean,
Christopher Newport was a really good game for them. Now let's just see, can they do this against Kenyon? It's going to be a
right.
cracker of a game regardless. Like, holy smokes. It's going to be crazy. So
We will see. I like this matchup. I like this matchup for Denison.
this to me, this game, this could very well be the game of the week for me. Like this particular game, this Denison Kenyon.
This
Like
Denison Kenyon one?
I think it's a classic game, especially over the last years, right? Like I just
Right.
think it is a classic game in the NCAC.
Yeah,
So,
it's a
and
good matchup.
I think Coach Bianco and Coach Wall played with each other, played on the same Ohio Wesleyan team
Ah, there you
together.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, dun dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. All right, next game. CNU, who
Yeah.
we like, kind of. They're going to Mary Washington. So CNU's 5-2-3. They just lost their first two games of the season
In Ohio.
last week in Ohio.
Yeah.
They didn't play this weekend. They had a rare weekend off. They had no game. So they've had time to study film and prepare. And then they play Washington and Lee midweek, CNU. So they've got Washington and Lee Wednesday and then Mary Washington on Saturday. Mary
I
Washington 11-0-1.
yeah.
Who's given them a game? Has anybody really given them a good game yet?
Who?
I know
Mary
they
Washington?
tied. Yeah, I know they tied Hopkins, but
They were lucky. Hopkins was lucky in that game. Let's be real. They scored with
Rowan was
in the
3-2, right?
yeah,
Rowan gave him a
yeah,
decent game.
decent game. Um, this to me, this is that game where you're fighting or you're a wounded beast in Christopher Newport, and you have to be very careful. And I will say, against if against Christopher Newport or Washington Lee, Mary Washington. Geez, I got all these names in my head. Mary Washington. I don't think started out great, like
Well, they
really
didn't really play
imposing
anybody,
against
too.
Rowan and yeah, against Rowan and then whoever they tied. Oh,
They didn't.
Johns Hopkins. I
Right.
think they get better as the game goes on, and in the second half, they just
Mm,
impose themselves, right?
right. Right.
And so, but can Christopher Newport get a goal or two, right? Like,
Hey,
and
Christopher Newport can score. They can.
yeah,
They'll throw bodies at you. They'll get a goal.
yeah,
I don't think this is a shutout.
and you know what?
This is going to be another
What?
80% Mary Washington with the score 2-1.
And they're going to Washington and Lee. Oh no, they're at home. Yeah, they're at home against Washington. Washington and Lee comes to them during the week, which could be an interesting game in of its own
Yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because Washington and Lee's 6-3-1. They're not doing too bad. They sort of
No, they're on my
recovered.
radar. I'm trying
Yeah,
to find a good matchup for them.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
The game I really want to watch is Mary Washington UVA.
Ooh, that's got to get on the list, right?
It's a Wednesday game.
Ah, boo hiss.
It's a midweek game or Thursday game midweek. I don't know.
Where
It's October 30th.
is it at
They played him
UVA?
before. I probably
Yeah.
played him. They played him a couple of years ago, and I think they lost like one nothing. And and UVA is like 500
Yeah.
team right now. I mean,
Ooh, they're
yes,
yeah.
they're an ACC team, and the
Yeah.
tradition, but they're like 3 and 4
Oh,
and
three,
2 or
four,
something.
and three.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
You know, I don't know that they're going to want to play Mary Washington
no.
because Mary Washington they're going to Division 3 team. Yeah, you're looking at one of the best
Well,
teams in Division 3 that's going to come in. Is that game
yeah.
at UVA? I think it is, right?
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
that
Which,
you
if
don't
you're
want.
Mary Washington, how awesome is that? They have a
Right?
lovely, lovely field.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lovely place to play. A great stadium.
So we'll talk about that game in a couple weeks. That's not until the end of
Yeah.
October,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's on my radar.
That is definitely.
Yeah,
I think they'll do better than Everett did
against Duke.
against Duke.
Yeah, yeah. I hope
Yeah.
so.
They better. Oh my gosh. If they do worse, that's bad. I'm like, oh my god,
Right.
can't have
They
that.
won't do
So
worse. They won't do worse.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Next game.
All right.
F&M. Got to keep F&M in here until we find out what we got with them.
Yeah, yeah.
F&M Muhlenberg.
Another great game in its own right.
F&M 6-0-5. They did what
Yeah.
they were supposed to do against McDaniel. They
Yep.
won 3-1. Muhlenberg 6-2-3. They stumbled a bit against Gettysburg. They drew 1-1, but they're undefeated in their last 6 games. They're both locks for the Centennial playoffs now.
Yeah.
So this game has meaning in that it tells us, okay, are these teams legit?
Yeah.
How strong are they actually? And by the way, the Mules have beaten the Dips
Yeah.
2 out of the last 3 meetings
Yeah.
in
And
this game
and
at Muhlenberg.
and they're capable of playing, right? They're capable of playing anyone. Let's ask Dickinson, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they put four behind them, and
yeah,
that surprised everybody. I think. Um, I do think F&M needs this game just from a momentum standpoint. I think that's sort of. I mean, it's good that you don't lose, right? It's good. That's
right.
okay, but it's hard to, when you're tying after tie, it's just kind of like it. I think that wears thin as well, right? They need the victory. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think Muhlenberg's going to give it to them. That's for sure.
Yeah, no,
This
I'm
is a
not.
tough. This is a tough one. Like
This is
legitimately
a
tough
tough
one to
game.
call.
This is a tough game to pick.
Tough game to call.
I don't think this is as easy as everybody going. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
F&M. It's F&M, but it's a Muhlenberg team that's beaten them 2 of the last 3 games. It's a
Yeah.
Muhlenberg
Yeah.
team who can score, who's
Yeah.
6-2-3 in their own right.
Yeah.
This is and it's a conference game.
Yeah.
You never know.
I mean, this is one where I could totally see a 2-2 draw.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
that's so it's not going to be a 2-2 draw, but like that's the first thought that comes to mind to me.
Yeah,
It's like, yep,
yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
guys can. So, oof,
Tough one.
that, yeah. I'm wondering,
Uh,
and this is a big deal just from the rank, this right? Yeah, I think they
no,
are. They're all in the upper
they
two, right?
yeah,
They're up. Yeah, they're not.
I
They're
think
not. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
in danger of falling out unless they go on a losing streak. I don't think they're in
Yeah.
danger of falling out of the playoffs. I
Mm-mm.
mean, they'll make the playoffs. Um, maybe this has some implications for
Yeah.
the 1 or 2
The
seed,
seeding.
which get the
Yeah.
bye, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
Centennial 6 team tournament,
Yeah.
2 teams bye, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's something to play there.
All right.
It's a good one. Oh, next one, Virginia Wesleyan back in the pool again against the other team back in the pool, Roanoke. I like this game a lot.
Yeah.
I like this game a lot. Virginia Wesleyan are 9-1-2. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Roanoke just lost tragically to Hamden Sydney. They needed to win that game. So they're now 5 2
Yeah.
and 2, which is still good, but they're 2 and 2 in the ODAC, which if
Yeah.
you look at the ODAC standings, that puts them in 6th.
Yeah.
If they lose this game, they go 2 and 3 in the ODAC. Their
That's
season's on
hard
the
to
line this
recover.
weekend.
Yeah.
I think this is
So.
almost a must-win game for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And they couldn't have gone up against somebody else. Like Virginia Wesleyan has been quietly doing their thing,
Yeah,
and
right.
you know, Yeah, and the four wins in a row. I mean, this is not going to be an easy game. I'm trying to think like where, like this is. I think this is going to be a really tough game for Roanoke, just
Oh,
because
yeah,
I
it's
just think
brutal.
I just think
But I think
Wesleyan.
it's a must win.
Yeah. Yo, totally, totally. I think the
It's a
pressure of
totally
that,
must win
but then
game, and unfortunately, it's again no matter who they're playing, this is a
yeah,
must win game just by
yeah,
where
yeah,
they sit.
yeah,
By
yeah,
where they sit. If they were playing Everett, this would be a must-win
yeah,
game for them. It'd be easier for them, but it'd be a must-win game because they can't go 2-3 in the ODAC. They
yeah.
can't do that.
No,
They
they
need a win
can't.
here.
Yeah,
They need a win here. Unfortunately, it's Virginia Wesleyan. Virginia
yeah,
Wesleyan is hot.
yeah. I just
This is
think
not
I,
a
I
game they
just
want.
think it doesn't the way Virginia Wesleyan plays doesn't lend itself to Roanoke and what they would want. I think they're gonna. I mean, I'm just looking at they've scored 14 goals in the last four games, including a 2-0 win against Lynchburg.
Right.
And this is that's a
They've been weak games. You know, I didn't look at that.
they do not no no
No.
midweek game. They go Roanoke and then they play Randolph followed by Bridgewater.
And Roanoke has Guilford on
Midweek?
Wednesday. Yeah, midweek
Yeah.
at Guilford. All right, so they'll hopefully pick up a win there, so that puts them at 3-2,
Yeah.
and then that still makes Virginia Wesleyan a must-win game
It's must win. Must
because they
win.
can't go 3-3 because then
No.
they still have Washington and Lee,
Yeah.
they still have Everett, Shenandoah, and Bridgewater.
Yeah. That's gonna be schedule
That
here.
This Hampton Sydney loss was not good for them.
Brutal. That hurt. That's the
Yeah,
one that hurts, like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, if we left points on the table, that to me was the game.
Mm.
That to me was the game.
So that'll be an interesting matchup. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens there.
Yeah, and Virginia Wesleyan is number one in the ODAC right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, hey,
yeah. All right,
yeah,
NESCAC.
if they do lose this one, they're out. Like, let's be real,
It's tough. I
they're
think it's
out.
tough. I think if they lose
Yeah,
this, it's going to be tough for them.
yeah. I think that's going to be really hard. Anyhow,
Yep.
next.
So let's go to the NESCAC. Haven't had
Of
NESCAC in two
course,
weeks.
of course.
I
Let's
think
go
this is
there.
another. I think this is another really interesting matchup. And
Yeah,
at first glance, you're like, what an easy pick. But then when you think about it and look at it, I don't think it's that easy. Williams at Wesleyan. Williams are 8-2-1. They're undefeated in their last 8 games. Williams is playing well.
yeah,
They're facing a 5-3-2 Wesleyan team whose only 3 losses are to the top of the pecking order,
yeah,
Middlebury, Tufts, Amherst.
yeah,
They're desperate to pick up points.
yeah.
You do not want to play a desperate team at home,
Mm-mm. No.
at their home.
Yeah.
I think this is a real tough game for Williams. I don't think this is as easy as,
I
oh, well, yeah, Williams is just better. They're going to win this game.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I think right. This is the this is the except for last year. This ends up being the issue with being in the NESCAC. You can have a really good year, and you know what? At 5-3-2, that's not a bad start to your.
Right,
That's not
right.
a bad season, right? Like you're over 500. You right, but
Well,
when you're
let's take Roanoke. Let's take if you
yeah,
said to Roanoke, hold on, let's just take this in context. Roanoke, you're going to be 5-3-2, but your 3 losses are going to be to Middlebury, Tufts, and Amherst.
yeah,
You'd be like, okay, I'll
okay,
take 5-3-2 with 3 losses
yeah,
against Middlebury,
yeah,
Tufts, and Amherst,
yeah,
right?
right, and it's like it doesn't like they really do have to punch above their weight when they play those games.
Yeah,
Like and I again I don't know much about Wesleyan. I don't think I even interviewed the coach. Um, but like that's the tough spot they're in. So then these games, as you rightly point out, right, they become a very, very big deal, right? Like
yeah.
right? Williams is probably on that lower rung, right? Like just below.
Just
Eh,
barely,
yeah,
barely
barely. I
below.
agree. I agree. So
Right,
it's like if I am going to pick one off, that's who I'm picking off.
right. And Wesleyan's
But
desperate to get points in the
yeah,
conference.
yeah,
They need points
yeah.
because they've already lost 3 games.
But unlike the year they went to the finals, this is a team that's scoring goals and winning. Like that's like you can't. Oof, oof.
Huh. Good game. Good game.
Maybe Wesleyan
Ah,
should leave the NESCAC.
they should leave the NESCAC too.
Yeah, yeah. No,
They
I
can
don't.
go.
I
They
don't.
can. Wesleyan and Trinity can go into one of those Connecticut
Yeah,
conferences
yeah.
with like
Create their.
Colby Sawyer and
Yeah, yeah,
whatever conference that is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, this is that is going to be. It is. It like you said. They're going to be desperate. Like this is a desperation game, and I think Williams is more thinking how do we consolidate where we're at and just right.
yeah.
They're in a good spot. They're winning. Okay, how do we consolidate that? And Wesleyan's going to be
It's a tough game.
again wounded.
Tough game. Tough game.
Yeah. So all right, so
All
next
right,
another
this
easy
next one.
one.
Well, this is an interesting one. I think people are going to look at this one too and be like, "Oh, piece of cake." Especially all our boys up in Canton, right?
Yeah, of course.
Hobart at Vassar.
Yeah,
Vassar's 8-2. They're 3-0 in the Liberty League. They're the cream of the crop this year. They're the
yeah,
best team in that conference right now. Um, Hobart is 1-4-4. They've got one win, and they just drew with Clarkson, who was undefeated, even though they outshot him 19-5. I don't want to look past Hobart. Vassar haven't beaten Hobart in 6 years. This is a trap game if I've ever seen
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Especially since Vassar's on a roll. Like
Vassar's on
they're
a
rolling.
roll.
Yeah,
Hobart's underperforming, but
yeah,
not bad. Hobart has Vassar's number. This is a trap game.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Hobart wins this game.
yeah. And Vassar reminds me in of Denison, right? Not in terms of style and how they play, although there's some similarities, but in terms of like aspiration. And I think Vassar this year has really sort of come into their own under Coach Hood. I think this is
Vassar
the
should
type
be
of game. This is the type of game, to your point, that a team like that is sort of again trying to fight for that.
right.
Right, this is the type of game that they could easily lose sight of and get hurt by
Yeah,
very easily.
yeah, yeah.
Especially against Hobart again, is sort of looking to hey, how do we
How do we
make
make
sense?
something
How do
out of
we make
this? Yeah,
something out of our
right,
season right
right.
now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is just brutal.
This is a tough game.
It's
I think again. I think we're going to see probably a lot of 80%
yeah,
Hobart in this game. I
yeah,
mean to Vassar in this game, but
yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. That's
I
that's a
don't know
little
about
bit.
that.
I don't know.
To me this is a big time trap game, and I really don't know if Vassar has what it takes to win this one.
This that could be a game that
They're the
ends
better
up.
team, but
This could be like this could be a 1-0 game for Vassar that they score in like the 85th minute. They finally break through
yeah, yeah,
something to that
or yeah,
effect.
2-1 with three
Yeah,
goals and all 3 goals are in from the 70th minute
yeah,
on. You know,
yeah.
so I don't know. I like this game. I want to watch this one.
That's a good one at Vassar. Okay,
All right, Sunday. I've got 2 Sunday games this
two
week.
Sunday
Usually
games.
just one, but I do have 2 this week. Uh, Babson at Middlebury,
New Mac.
New Mac. The Battle of New England Heavyweights, I call this
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
So Babson 5-0-6. Their top 10 team, right? Or they were 12th, I think,
yeah,
last week in the coaches
yeah,
poll. So they're top 10 team.
yeah,
They're going to Vermont, Middlebury, another top 10 team, undefeated,
yeah,
7-0-2.
yeah. that
I,
it,
this is a big game. This is another big game. Babson Middlebury, big game.
this would be a game for Middlebury to really do something convincing. Like I think
Yeah.
again, right? Like this
Well,
to
I
me,
think either of them, either of them.
either of them. That's
If
fair.
somebody
Yep.
can take this game,
Yeah.
and I don't mean take the game, 10-9 shots and they win 1-0.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody wins this game 2-0 and outshoots them,
Yeah.
18-8, that's a statement.
Yeah. And
Either way.
they've already that again. I'm not. It's their rankings, it's the coaches' rankings, but they tied WPI, who was 22nd at the time,
Mm-hmm.
tied Amherst,
Mm-hmm.
tied Tufts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
They're
yeah,
right.
yeah, and that could totally. They're showing that they can play at that level. At that level, do they pull out a win? They again, it could. I would. This is another one where I'd say I see a tie written all over it, but that's a
So a
big,
tie. So they finished. They go 5-0-7 then.
yeah. It's
That's actually not
Williams
true because they
all
both.
over
I
again.
think they both have a midweek game, and then they both have conference games on Saturday.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
an
which is
interesting Sunday game. I don't
yeah,
know the history behind. There must be a history behind this
yeah,
because they both play. You don't see a lot of Saturday Sunday games this late in the
uh,
season, and they both have a conference game Saturday, and then
yep,
they're playing this non-conference matchup Sunday, and it's not like they're next to each other.
yeah, yeah. I don't
This is
know. That's
this
weird.
is a this is a
This,
weird
this
game.
and not to mention, depending on how the Saturday goes, do they sort of throttle back on Sunday?
True.
Gives guys a rest.
Right.
Right, because
Yeah.
then they both go. Well, Babson goes into a 5 game. Their last 5 games of the season are all NUMAC,
Right.
right? And this is going to be. Right, they'll have a.
And
This is
they
going
both have winnable games Saturday,
to.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
The
so. They're
Salve
both.
Regina for
Yeah.
Babson, and they have
Middlebury's like
Colby.
Colby, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Middlebury has
So I mean,
Colby.
you think both these teams are still going to be undefeated?
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to throttle back to potentially give
yeah,
up an undefeated season.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's what's. Again, that's what you have in line,
Right.
right? Like, right? Middlebury plays Colby, then they play Babson, and then they have a week off before they play Tufts, which
Right.
is going to be the battle of the battles, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be it. That's going to be it. That's going to be a real. And it's at Tufts, so I don't know. That's it. There's a lot of questions for me on this game. A lot of questions about how they. Again, the approach is going to be: do they throw it caution to the wind and go for it, or do both teams starting to think about where they are in their conference? What's the
Hmm.
what's the are they in the tournament? Not in. They're going to be thinking a lot. I think they're going to be thinking a lot about that.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of play for this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because this game doesn't have a lot of play, but there's a lot of play
No,
surrounding things
around
going
it,
on
around it.
around
Again, it's just going
around
to
it.
be,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Because
So,
honestly, if either one of these teams loses this game, not a big deal.
not a big deal. It'll
It's
just,
honestly not a big
yeah.
deal. But
It's more an ego thing at this
right,
point, right?
right,
That oh,
right, right,
they
right,
got,
right,
so,
right.
oh boy. Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
I
watch
like
that
that
one.
game too.
That
Yeah, I
should
know
be an
exactly.
interesting one. Like, it's just a mix. Like, it's just a different game.
Yeah.
Different game. So, all right. And this
All
last
right.
one,
What
which
do you
I
think of
have
this one?
no idea. Holy mackerel.
Oh, I love this last
Go
one.
forth. Tell
I
me
love
this
this
one.
last one. People are gonna when we put the poll up for people to start picking, they're gonna have to come to this video to see what the hell this is about.
That's
Because they're
so
going to look at it and
bad.
go, what? What is
Yeah.
this? So you need the backstory. So you got to come listen to the video, come watch the
Yeah.
video and
Come
get the
watch the video
backstory
first, and then you'll
for
understand.
the St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the SLIAC, we'll call
It's
them.
like, yeah.
This matchup features 1-11 Fontbonne. They've given up as many goals this season as they have shots this season, 49.
Yeah.
They're traveling to 0-10 Mississippi University for women, who are also who have also only had 49 shots, but they've given up 51 goals this season. So, who is Mississippi College for Women, you ask? Did I hear you ask that? You asked that, right? Who's
I did
Mississippi
not.
College
I
for
am
Women?
very familiar. I
Are
am
you familiar with
familiar
them?
with. I am
Are
familiar
you?
with both schools.
Unbelievable.
Actually, believe it or not. Yeah.
But Mississippi College for Women. So, for those like me who didn't know who they opened in 1884 as the Mississippi Industrial Institute and College for the
Yeah.
Education of White Girls.
Yes.
They changed their name in 1920 to Mississippi State College for Women, and then changed it again in 1974 to Mississippi University for Women. They're affectionately known as the W. They
Yes.
have 25% male population at that school.
Yeah.
So that's a
Eh,
little bit of history for you.
So, the more history.
Yeah,
Mississippi University for Women is actually in the process of trying to change their name again. I
they've
think.
been trying for
Yeah.
years to change their
They
name, and
tr-
they
they tr-
they
they came up with a name, and everybody was balked at it. Like, no
yep.
way. I I will send out a plea if someone has a good hat from Mississippi School for Women. That would be awesome because I haven't found a good one, and they're anyhow. Fontbonne. The reason why I'm familiar with them, the Griffiths of Fontbonne University announced just in the fall or in the summer that they are discontinuing operations at the end of the summer 2025. So this is their last season
There
as
you go.
a soccer program. Um,
That's why I
and
knew them. I remember hearing about them.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, there's something about them.
Unfortunately, they are a team that will no longer be. So um, I will, yes. So that's about the extent of the soccer that I
Right,
know
right.
from these guys. I haven't. I watched Fontbonne just a little bit, not enough to make a fair judgment. I do think this is going to be. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave
It's
it at that.
I find this interesting for numerous reasons. The first of which is it's a conference game, the St. Louis
Yeah,
conference between a team in Missouri and a team in Mississippi.
yeah,
Um, the fact that they've both only have 49 shots on the season total, the fact that they've both given up 49 and 51 goals, um, it's unfortunate that Von actually has a win because it would have been great to have two winless teams trying for their
yeah,
first win.
yeah,
But nonetheless, this is an interesting story. It'll be interesting to see what the Hive thinks of this one.
yeah. Yeah. That is, yeah. I don't know how to score this one.
No, nobody
I don't
does.
know how result. This is going to be.
I
This
had
will
no
be
clue.
the busted toe for
Yeah,
everybody. I can totally
which
see
is
that.
fine because I gave
Yeah,
I gave you some freebies last week.
yeah. For total freebies. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's.
yeah.
I must have missed that
You
memo.
missed
I didn't
you
get any
missed the
freebies.
memo. You missed the memo. You did. You did miss the memo.
Well, that
Yeah.
is
So those are the 10 games.
That is fantastic, Eric. These are some
Yeah.
really. I mean, there's some really great games that just again, what from a watching perspective, like
I think
you can't.
if you throw these names at you throw these games out, just throw the names out like okay, this team versus that team. I think you instant reaction like okay, I'm gonna pick Middlebury. I'm gonna pick
Yeah,
Vassar. I'm gonna pick
yeah,
Williams. I'm gonna pick Virginia Wesley. I'm gonna pick Barry Washington. But then when you say, hold on a minute, let me just think about it
yeah.
and see what's going on, you say, I don't
Eh,
know.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. I don't know if I have as much confidence anymore.
And we're
It'd be great if
still.
you it would be great if we could have like a confidence level. Like, yes, I'm going to
Yeah,
pick Vassar.
and I feel
So the
this good about it.
right, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
this good
yeah,
about picking them.
yeah.
You know,
I the this is still that time of year that I think in a season to be uneasy about any picks. Just because I don't, I think
Well, I think it only gets
after this,
harder.
I think after this week, you'll start to see teams, okay, they see the end of the season in sight. There's a lot of things going on, the tournament, their conference, all that kind of stuff, and it sort of focuses their efforts. I think right now we're sort of coming out of that time of the season where, okay, they got to start thinking they're still knee deep in it. Uh, they got a month under their belt. They got another month. I think a lot of teams sort of go up and down during that time period. So I
Yeah,
still think
that's
that's
why
a little bit of that.
I think it gets harder as the
Yeah,
next weeks come on because you have teams that are desperate
that's
to.
correct. Correct.
There's desperation now. You know,
That's right. Right.
you're 0-2 in the conference, or you're one in. You know,
They're
you're
in or out.
0-2 and you're fifth place out of a four-team. You know,
In or out, and then you don't care. You're like, yep, whatever. We're just gonna
right,
play, whatever. Yeah,
right.
yeah. So,
So,
all right. So I'm gonna get this up. I will get
all
this up
right,
hopefully today. Um, I will throw it on D3Soccer.fans. Do the and I'll put the leaderboard and all that stuff. I'll get it up and going. And let's see if we
all
can break
right.
50.
50. It's coming.
And let's see if I can break
Let's see if you can break
25.
50. Let's see if you can break 50.
Yeah, not happening. So, um, all right,
All right.
all right,
Good stuff.
great
We'll talk
stuff.
soon.
So yeah.
Later.